This morning, we come before us this universal energy crisis for sustainable development. We write on reality and we deliver by Dr. Fulani, me, Yola, Fulani. Please permit me to call the University Minister, Mrs. Oladipo, to come and give the Vice President to lead the dispensation of the meeting. Number 7.
The Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, the University Bosa, the University Librarian, all other protocols duly observed. We are, at this juncture, request our dear Vice Chancellor, Professor Razak Olatunde Kanimu, to please rise and do the introduction of the inaugural lecture. The Vice Chancellor, sir. Thank you.
Citation of Professor Fumilayo Oyinlola Osuola. Fumilayo Oyinlola Osuola was born to the family of Reverend Dr. R.A. and Evangelist L.B. Amanda on the 3rd day of December 1974. She had her primary education at Osuola 6-day school in Ogbomoso. Her junior secondary school was at Baptist Secondary Grammar School in Ogbomoso from 1985 to 1988, and her senior secondary school from 1988 to 1994 was at Obaseki High School, Oruwa. She had her Bachelor's of Technology and Master of Technology degrees in Chemical Engineering from Labuka University of Technology, Ogbomoso, respectively in 1998 and 2006. She had her Doctor of Philosophy degrees in Chemical Engineering with specialization in Process Integration from Obafemi Awolowo University in Ife in 2000. Moreover, in 2015, she had her second PhD in Chemical Engineering with specialization in Process Modeling and Optimization from Newcastle University. Fumilayo Oyinlola Osuola started her academic career at Ladoja University of Technology Ogbomoso as a teaching assistant in 2004 and was appointed an assistant lecturer in 2006. She rose through the ranks to professor in 2022. Secretary, Departmental Postgraduate Committee, Undergraduate Project Coordinator, Chairman, Fundraising and Finance Committee, and Departmental Examination Officer. Professor Mrs. Osuola is a recipient of several scholarships and awards. This includes the Commonwealth Scholarship in the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth Alumni Community Award, Fulbright Visiting Scholar at University of Utah, United States of America, from 2021 to 2022, and the United States Government Exchange Alumni Award in 2024. Our visit to the United States culminated in the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between BC University and the University of Utah. Her research interest is in process integration and energy system. She's an expert in life dynamics, process modeling, and optimization of energy systems. She has more than 60 published articles in offshore Conference, United Kingdom, American Institute of Chemical Engineers, USA, International Congress of Chemical and Process Engineers, International Energy and Environmental Symposium in France, European Symposium in Computer-Aided Process Engineering in Denmark, International Conference on Renewable Energy in Spain, European Conference on Renewable Energy System, Professor Mrs. Usholabi is a current registered engineer and an active member of several professional bodies such as Nigerian Society of Engineers, Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers, American Institute of Chemical Engineers, Chemical Institute of Canada, Canadian Society of Chemical Engineers, Organization of Women, Association of Professional Women Engineers, Society of Women Engineers USA, National Organization for the Professional Advancement of Black Chemistry and Chemical Engineering, United States of America, and National Association of Women Academics. She has teaching and research experience in several universities, such as Landmark University, Kwara State, University of Ibadan, Kwara State, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, Newcastle University, United Kingdom, University of Utah, United States of America, Lake State University. She served as an external examiner for postgraduate students at University of Ibadan, Covenant University, Federal University of Technology, and Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. She is passionate about girls and women's empowerment. She is actively involved in several outreaches to girls in secondary school to promote science, technology, engineering, and mathematics-based programs. She recently teamed up with some United States Government Exchange and to organize a program that creating access, the usability, and education for menstrual health for girls in some local governments in Ondo State. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Mrs. Funmilayo Oyinlola Osholale is married to Professor Okorede Michael Osholale. Having given her life to Jesus Christ in her teenage years, she seeks to always glorify the Lord in all things. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mrs. Funmilayo Oyinlola Osholale to you. On behalf of the
Deputy Vice Chancellor Strategy and Development, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic and Innovations, other principal officers of the university, provosts of colleges, Dean Postgraduate School, Dean Faculty of Engineering, Deans of other faculties and student affairs, members of the University Senate, Head of Department of Chemical Engineering, heads of other departments and units, members of the University Communication and other members of staff, members of my family, distinguished guests, great Lagodites, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. To God be the glory for the great things He has done. To everything under heaven there is a time and a season. It has pleased God who reigns supreme in the affairs of men to make this day a reality in my life. I ascribe all glory, majesty, and adoration to his holy name. I feel greatly honored to stand before this august audience and great minds to deliver the 61st inaugural lecture of the university, the 28th in the Faculty of Engineering and Technology, and the 4th in the Department of Technology. With the title, Separation is Predestined, an Essential Tool for Survival. Professor O. Ogunleye in his treatise presented circular economy, chances, choices, and consequences, making the second inaugural lecture in the department, while Professor M. Adamu recently presented Good, Bad, Better Again, Paradox of Bioengineering in Waste Valorization for Resource Recovery as the third inaugural lecture in the department. If separation is inevitable for every successful chemical process that results in useful products, and the choice to produce any product which is often dictated by societal needs come with consequences, especially about the environment, and thereby necessitating the need to recover waste and convert them to useful products to create a sustainable environment. Then, the driving force behind the successful execution of these processes is the reliable, affordable, efficient, and environmentally friendly energy supply. As the great scientist Sir Isaac Newton rightly posited in his 3 physical laws relating the motion of an object to the forces acting on it, permit me to say this afternoon that the survival of a thriving chemical process, and indeed a prosperous society, hinges on the uninterrupted supply of adequate and affordable energy. This sadly is not what our experiences as a developing nation. The great question this afternoon to everyone here is, have we enjoyed as much of the epileptic energy supply as we can stand? Are we passive or active about a positive change in our energy situation? Would we be willing to change the status quo and embrace a new way of life for improved energy supply? Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 61st inaugural lecture of this great study of energy, the Universal Energy Lecture for Sustainable Ranch Reality. Imagine a world where every individual, regardless of geographical location or socio-economic status, has reliable access to energy for everyday use. This should not be merely a vision, but an imperative, because access to modern energy services is indispensable for economic growth, healthcare, education, enhanced agricultural productivity, and much more. There are different forms of energy that can be transformed for diverse purposes. Energy powers our homes and industries, supplies fuel for transportation and communication networks, and enables access to essential services. In September 2015, world leaders adopted 17 Sustainable Development Goals at the United Nations. It is obvious that majority of the SDG can only be achieved with adequate access to energy services. What then is universal energy access? The simplest definition of energy access is the physical availability of electricity and modern energy carriers. It is having reliable and adequate quantity and quality of energy at an affordable cost to meet basic human needs and for all required services. Universal energy access is a commitment to eradicate energy poverty. This includes access to electricity, clean cooking fuel, and energy for productive uses, as summarized in Figure 1. The key principles in universal energy access are equity, sustainability, reliability, and affordability. SDG 7 is a great recognition of the important link between energy and development. The targets and indicators are presented in Table 1. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to briefly explore the current energy situation in our immediate environment, Nigeria, our beloved country. Nigeria and the rest of Africa is developing with insufficient energy generation and distribution challenges. Out of the 660 gigawatts of energy supply in 2019, Africa has a measly supply of 5.9% as presented in Figure 2. The solution of energy statistics in Africa reflects most of the countries on the continent. The current demand for energy in Nigeria is estimated at 98,000 megawatts. However, the current output from the total installed electricity capacity of 12,522 megawatts is just 3,800 megawatts. This is Nigeria is without access to electricity, while those with access face frequent power outages and crippling energy costs. The World Bank estimates that Nigeria loses approximately 2% of its GDP annually due to energy deficiencies. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy and the most populous nation, faces the energy challenge. Nigeria, as a signatory to the SDGs, has committed to achieving universal energy access. However, the question remains, can Nigeria overcome its energy challenges and harness the potential of its vast resources to overcome the menace of inadequate and irregular energy? Take one shows two major indications that can ensure universal energy access. These are more reliance on renewable energy and increasing the efficiency of energy consuming processes. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, these are the two basic areas on which my research activities in energy are focused. Let me provide a brief overview of these areas. Renewable energy is energy from natural sources that can be replenished at a higher rate than they are consumed. An estimate of about 2,500,000 gigawatts of renewable energy can be available in a year if judiciously harnessed from potential renewable energy. The projected amount of energy demand of our nation by 2030 is 45 gigawatts. The values of renewable energy, less unexpected, is more than enough to meet the energy demands of the country. Universal energy access in Nigeria should not be a mirage, but an attainable reality. From time immemorial, renewable energy from biomass was the main source of energy generation, as depicted in Figure 5. What then is actually biomass? Biomass is an organic matter produced by plants as summarized in Figure 6. The nation of Nigeria has abundant biomass resources, but the paradox is the traditional use of biomass, which is less efficient and often injurious to human health. If Nigeria is to achieve its target of increasing energy generation capacity in the country, the vast biomass resources available in the country will have to be judiciously converted into high-value fuel and not the inefficient traditional way of direct combustion. Some agricultural residues generated in Nigeria and the potential energy that can be derived from them are presented in Table 3. How do we convert biomass to energy? There are two main routes of converting biomass to energy. These are thermochemical and biochemical conversion processes, as depicted in Figure 7. Energy efficiency. Methods of determining and improving the efficiency of chemical processes are through pinch technology and the application of thermodynamic analysis, otherwise known as well as exergy analysis or second law analysis. What is exergy analysis? The ultimate efficiency of the energy system in the provision of energy services cannot be determined by calculations based on the first law of thermodynamics alone, but should be extended to the second law of thermodynamics. The capacity of energy to do work or the availability concept is called exergy. Exergy represents the part of energy which can be converted into maximum useful work. The vivid illustration I can give to distinguish between energy and exergy is like cutting a birthday cake with a big cutlass instead of a table knife. The cutlass will definitely cut the cake, but the energy that is supplied by the cutlass far exceeds what is needed to cut the cake. Exergy analysis is a measure of the quality of energy and is the maximum work produced or the minimum work depending on whether the system produces or requires work in bringing the system through a reversible process with the environment. One of our earliest work presented the relationship between exergy, energy, economics, and environment as depicted in Figure 8. My personal journey and research interests. I started my research with a direct focus on an efficient energy usage of chemical and petrochemical processes under the tutelage of Professor A.N. Anozie at Obafemi Awolowo University in Ife, who supervised my MSc and first PhD degrees. I continued this quest during my second PhD journey at Newcastle University in the United Kingdom under the tutelage of Professor Joseph, where I delved more into incorporating energy efficiency into control and optimization of process systems. I surmised that the energy efficiency of chemical processes will lengthen affordable and efficient scale through gasification. I consolidated this research with a visit to the University of Utah, United States of America, and was hosted by Professor Kevin Whitty. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to present some of my modest contributions in these two broad areas: energy efficiency and renewable energy for biomass utilization. I have conducted research on some existing chemical and petrochemical processes in Nigeria, targeting the second law efficiency of the process with the sole aim of improving energy usage. Let me reiterate here that the second law efficiency, exergy efficiency, and thermodynamic efficiency the steam power plants. Thermodynamic analysis of the 220 megawatt thermal plant using its design and operating data was presented in Oshabali et al. 2009. A thermal plant station has 6 units of 220 megawatts. The plant under study was sectionalized into 3 each to determine the contribution of each section to the efficiency and reversibility of the plant. The maximum exergy loss of 168 megawatts was in the boiler unit. The overall efficiency of the plant in terms of the second law analysis was 23.3%. The study pinpointed the gross inefficiency of the plant and suggested ways of improving it. Figure 9 is a diagrammatic representation of the steam power cycle. Crude distillation unit. In a study of the thermodynamic analysis of the crude distillation unit of 2 refineries in Nigeria, the atmospheric distillation units of the refineries were found to be 30% and 31.6% efficient in terms of exergy, and 86.5% and 74.6% efficient in terms of energy respectively. Osholali and Mose 2019. Modifications of the operating and field conditions of the refineries resulted in increased exergetic efficiency for as much as 62.3% and 38.7% for the refineries. Thermodynamic analysis of the refineries was seen to bring about efficiency improvement and effectiveness of the refineries. Osholali et al. 2011 and Mose and Osholali 2010. A typical simulated atmospheric distillation unit of the refineries presented in Figure 10. Cement production plant. Thermodynamic analysis of the cement production plant in Nigeria was conducted by Osholali and Osholali 2016A. The total amount of exergy into the system was 402 megajoule per hour, and the total exergy out was 153 megajoule per hour. The of the system was 246 megajoule per hour. This translates to about 60% of exergy loss in the system. The second law efficiency of the plant was 46.58%. In a related world, thermoeconomic and environmental assessment of the cement production plant was made using the first and second law thermodynamics based on the actual operational data of the plant, Osholali and Osholali 2016. The result of the monitoring cost of the inlet and outlet streams of each unit, as well as the overall system, as shown in Table 2. The exergy of each stream is seen to have a direct relationship with the cost of the stream, and hence an improvement in the exergy of the system has an economic benefit on the plant. Other research work on cement plant are presented in the Osholali et al. 2021 and 2022. Thermochemical decomposition of water to hydrogen. Osholali et al. 2018 focused on thermodynamic analysis of the cycles. This is a promising technology for large-scale production of hydrogen. The results are as projected, and the results from the parametric analysis of the simulated process could assist ongoing effort to understand the thermodynamic losses in the cycle, improve efficiency, increase the economic viability of the process, and facilitate eventual commercialization of the process. Exergy and energy analysis of the presented systems and processes indicate gross inefficiency in most of the processes considered. With the second law analysis, the potential for improvement of the processes was not considered, and the performance of the system compared to optimal possible performance can be seen. Apart from the analysis, I have researched improving energy efficiency through different techniques. I present them as follows. Exergy rate diagrams. We have developed stage exergy rate diagrams for determining physical operating conditions in binary distillation. Studying the effect of key process parameters on the stage exergy rate diagrams, energy and exergy efficiencies, and irreversibility rate at various conditions. Osholali 2006 and Osholali 2009. Figures 11A and B give physical and physical operating conditions for the perceived trolling system based on executive profiles, and Table 5 gives the summary of the sensitivity analysis. It is clearly seen that even though some process conditions have higher executive efficiency, they cannot be considered if they are constricted or are not visible from the executive diagrams. It was shown that the state executive diagram is a very useful thermodynamic tool for determining visible and invisible operating conditions in the distillation columns and should be used to complement executive efficiency results in executive studies. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this is one of the earliest reported works on the use of executive in diagnosing distillation column operations. In another study, two objective functions representing the second law efficiency and operating costs in binary distillation operation were empirically derived and used to optimize the operations of the distillation column. The responses of the system to variation in the process operating variables were explained using stage executive diagrams. Only the simulation run with physical profile were selected for deriving the models for the optimization studies. The optimal operating set point for the variables were the same for the exegetic and economic optimization studies. Table 6 gives a summary of the optimization studies for two binary systems. The comparison of the optimization results with the basis conditions showed that operating the perceived distillation column with feed at 100 degrees C rather than 95 degrees C increased the second law efficiency from 66.8% to 71.61% and reduced the operating cost from $662,000 to $653,000. It is very significant that increase in the second law efficiency of the binary distillation operations corresponded with decrease in operating costs. Socially exalted 10A. Additionally, socially exalted 10B opined that the stage executive profiles depicting the exegetic driving forces in the distillation columns are useful in optimizing column reflux ratio and determining the corresponding number of trays. Furthermore, the efficiency of the crude distillation unit can be improved by feed stream splitting as demonstrated in Osholale et al. 2011 with an improvement from 27 to 51%, while in another study, the reversibility from chemical exertion contribution was reduced from 2.2% to 1.5%. Control and optimization. Establish executive efficiency. As the true efficiency of process systems, we move ahead to incorporate it in the optimization and control of the process systems. One tool we have used was artificial neural network model. When building neural network models from the same data set, there's a possibility that different networks perform well in different regions of the input space. Hence, prediction accuracy on the entire input space could be improved when multiple neural networks are combined. In a bootstrap aggregated neural network model, several neural network models are developed to model the same relationship. Individual neural network models are developed from bootstrap sample replications of the original training data. These models can be developed on different parts of the data set. A diagram of bootstrap aggregated neural network is shown in Figure 12. Application to binary system. Osholale and Yang 2014 presented a neural network-based strategy for the modeling and optimization incorporating the second law of thermodynamics. BAM, that's bootstrap aggregated neural networks, were used in the study for enhanced model accuracy and reliability. Figure 13 gives the actual and BAM predicted model for training, testing, and validating. The actual and predicted values are superimposed, indicating the degree of accuracy of BAM model. And Table 7 gives the optimization result, which was predicted using BAM. The distillate compositions were not compromised, showing that desired purity can be maintained with a corresponding increase in the executive efficiency of the system. It can be seen from Table 7 that actual executive efficiencies are very close to BAM model predicted values. This further demonstrates the suitability of BAM models for the modeling and optimization of the executive efficiency of distillation columns. Application to multi-component separation columns also demonstrate the effectiveness of the proposed method with a 32.4% improvement in the executive efficiency. Osholale and Yang 2016. A description of the optimization procedure is in Figure 14. Again, as reported for primary systems, the actual and predicted lands are superimposed. This shows that the are diverse, but the methods are generic. With a weighting of 0.5, the optimized system has an efficiency of 83.67% as compared to the base case efficiency of 46.7%. The economic analysis refutes the energy saving potential of the proposed method as presented in Table 8. The optimization resulted in 76.1 increments of energy efficiency. This translates to 44.8 decrease in reversibility loss in the column and 7.6% reduction in energy cost of the column with reference to their initial values. The total profit was increased by $26.3 million by year. Other related works are presented in Osholade and Yan 2015A and Osholade and Yan 2017. Osholade and Yan 2015B surmise that few studies have been reported concerning the energy efficiency of various displacement control structures. The chart of an energy efficient control configuration by incorporating thermodynamics second law in the selection criteria is described in this research. In addition to a relative gain array for assessing control loop interactions, a relative energy array is used in evaluating the energy efficiency of various control structures. The transfer functions of the control structures for two dynamic systems are presented in Table 9. It should be stressed here that the decisions regarding the controller should be based on dynamic simulations in addition to steady-state REA and RGA analysis. The simulation results were found to confirm the control structure selection. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, why have I concentrated effort at improving the efficiency of distillation products? The refinery industry is one of the most highly energy-intensive industries, with the cost of energy for heat and power accounting for 40%. According to the North American Industrial Classification System, the petroleum refineries consume almost 20% of the fuel energy consumed by the United States. About 35% of this is consumed in two distillation processes in the refinery, that is the atmospheric distillation unit and the vacuum distillation unit. It has been observed that a 30% energy saving in distillation column is equivalent to about 100,000 barrels of petroleum per day. Therefore, it can be conveniently concluded that improvement in the efficiency of the distillation unit in the refinery will greatly improve the overall efficiency of the refinery, culminating in a reduction in total cost of production, an increase in throughput, and a reduction in the consumption of energy. This possibly might be one of the needed intervention for our heart of function refineries. My research in renewable energy, established energy efficiency of processes and means of improving them, I move on to energy generation from renewable sources, with particular focus on biomass, majorly agricultural residues that are discarded as waste to the environment. I also paid close attention to thermochemical means of conversion, especially gasification process. Gasification converts biomass into a combustible gas mixture called product gas or syngas, mainly made of carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and a lower content of methane, and is able to provide a wide range of products. Hydrogen is one of the main products of gasification and regarded by many scientists as key energy carrier of the future. Most of the hydrogen around the world is produced from fossil fuels, especially steam methane reforming. Therefore, biomass-based hydrogen can be a great leap forward in the direction of renewable energy. The education and research sectoral group under my leadership recently presented a white paper on hydrogen for Nigeria at the just concluded National Conference of Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers in Abuja. Our research group in LAUTSE is in the mainstream of focusing on hydrogen generation from biomass. Pretreatment of biomass. Even though the technology to produce energy from biomass is gaining widespread attention, biomass in its raw form has some disadvantages. Biomass therefore must be pretreated for further utilization. Two methods of pretreatment we have studied are drying and torrefaction. We have conducted drying of some agricultural residues and microalgae with the objective of determining the effect of drying method and condition drying rate and energy requirements. This is with the goal of obtaining data for the design, operation, and optimization of biomass dryers. The microalgae was dried in open sun, solar dryer, hot air oven, and microwave dryer as depicted in Figure 16. The moisture activities, activation energies, specific energies required, and kinetics of open sun, solar, hot air, and microwave drying are as projected. And the research concluded that higher drying rates could be achieved with microwave drying compared to convective drying methods. For instance, in Figure 17, the drying rate of 0.5 gram water per gram dry matter per minute was achieved at 700 watts compared to 0.03 in hot air oven and about 0.03 in solar dryer. Also, the solar dryer was slow and weather dependent, but it utilizes abundant and renewable solar energy sources. Hence, we are currently exploring better design of solar dryer that will efficiently harness the abundant free and renewable solar radiation we have in Nigeria. Furthermore, a summary of other drying experiments conducted in our research group are presented in Table 10. When we have looked at drying extensively for biomass pretreatment process, we are currently exploring torrefaction with some appreciable preliminary results. Torrefaction is an emerging technology for the pretreatment of biomass. Hence, torrefaction can accelerate the development of biomass utilization technology. One of our studies on torrefaction of palm kernel shell is presented. We investigated the reactivity and kinetics of raw and torrefied palm kernel shell using thermographic analysis, with torrefaction temperature ranging from 200 to 200 degrees C in increments of 20 degrees C and gasified in 900 degrees C in air medium. And our observations are activation energy of the palm kernel shell was defined by the considered isoconversational method, and torrefied biomass produced reactive feedstock compared to original biomass. It might interest you, Mr. Chancellor, sir, that our research group won the Petron institutional-based research grant to finance further research of these programs. I will now present some of our research work on gasification of biomass for energy generation. In one of our research, biomass gasification was presented as a solution to the menace of inadequate power generation, dependence on fossil fuel, greenhouse gas emission, and inappropriate disposal of waste. Figure 18 gives some possible products from the gasification of biomass. Babatunde Osholade et al. 2019a. In another study, we explored the gasification of some indigenous biomass and studied the effects of pressure, temperature, and gasifying agents on the carbon conversion of each biomass. The experimental sector is presented in Figure 19. And Table 11 shows the comparison of syngas at 900 degrees C, changing the total operating pressure while keeping the steam partial pressure the same, show that the lowest pressure of 5 bar yielded the highest amount of hydrogen. For pressure of 5 at 10 bar, the difference between carbon monoxide and hydrogen production is negligible. However, when the total pressure was increased by a factor of 4 from 5 bar to 20 bar, the amount of carbon monoxide and hydrogen decreased by a factor of 3.5 and 9.2 respectively. The implication is operating at a lower pressure is best for the syngas production. Osholade et al. 2022b. In another study, a downdraft gasifier as given in Figure 21 was simulated. The biomass was modeled as a hypothetical component using the experimental result of the ultimate and proximate analysis of the biomass. The performance of the model in predicting the yield of hydrogen in the syngas composition is in good agreement with some experimental results from literature. Analysis of the model on the effect of temperature and steam to biomass ratio revealed 800 degrees C and 2.5 respectively as the optimal condition for high yield of hydrogen in the syngas. Osholade et al. 2021. Additionally, the economic evaluation of hydrogen from different sources was explored in Osholade et al. 2021. Some hydrogen production routes that were considered are presented in Figure 22. The hydrogen production from gasification process appears to be the most economical process amongst other hydrogen production processes considered. It costs about $1.38 per kilogram to produce hydrogen from large-scale gasification per kilogram, $10 per kilogram, and $4.28 per kilogram respectively. It was concluded that the process has the potential to be developed as an alternative to the conventional hydrogen production process. Oshalali et al. 2021. Oshalali et al. 2022 being presented prediction of the high utility value of biomass based on ultimate and approximate analysis. HHV of biomass is very important for the design and operation of biomass-based energy conversion processes. Experimental determination of this property is very cumbersome and very expensive. And as presented here, the study compared existing empirical correlations with correlations that were newly developed in the study for 12 biomasses that are typical to Nigeria. The mean absolute error and average absolute error of the existing and developed correlations are presented in table 12. And the developed correlations are seen to be more accurate in predicting the HHV. This is expected because the existing correlations were not developed based on biomass that are typical to Nigeria. This further substantiates the unavoidable need for us to be intentional in promoting technology to fit our local needs. Oshalali et al. 2019 also presented ultimate and approximate analysis results of some biomass in Nigeria. The result is useful in determining appropriate gasification technology that the biomass can be subjected to. Some remarks. The biomass that are presented here are from agricultural byproducts, which are often discarded as waste. This waste could be converted to energy. One of the ultimate benefits of using biomass gasification for energy is to reduce dependence on fossil fuel and thereby reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Developing nations like Nigeria has abundant biomass, but still suffers from inadequate power supply. Gasification of biomass to fuel is a solution with long-term economic and environmental benefits. Other products from biomass conversion processes that we have considered in our research group are biodiesel and biogas. Biodiesel is a renewable, biodegradable oil that can be produced from animal fat. We have considered castor seed oil and watermelon seed, among others, to produce biodiesel. Again, biogas that we have produced is a mixture of gas that is produced by anaerobic conversion of biomass, such as landfill waste, sewage, or animal manure. In one of our studies, grain rices and poultry dropping at a ratio of 5:2 were digested anaerobically, and the result shows that a cumulative of biogas of 16.86. Again, in one of our reviews on current trends, recent issues, and future prospects of anaerobic digestion as considered in Odejobi Oshalali et al. 2022 and Odejobi Oshalali et al. 2021, the result shows that the animal manure of 227,500 tons per day and agricultural crop residues of 83 million tons per year and petroleum sludge of 500 cubic meters per day respectively can generate biogas of 6.8 million cubic meters per day, 4.98 billion cubic meters per year, and 10,500 cubic meters per day of biogas respectively. The total energy potential for agricultural residues and animal manure in Nigeria alone are more than enough to solve our energy. And most of our energy problem, especially the municipal solid waste that we have all around us, all this could be converted to energy. Recently, I granted a TV interview sometime in July this year on the future of clean energy in Nigeria, especially as regards to management of municipal solid waste. Conclusion. In James Watson, 3 hungry men and strategies for problem solving. 3 tired and hungry men went to sleep with a bag of apples. One man woke up, ate 1/3 of the apples, then went back to sleep. Later, a second man woke up and ate 1/3 of the remaining apples, then went back to sleep. Finally, the third man woke up and ate 1/3 of the remaining apples. When he was finished, there were 8 apples left. How many apples were in the bag originally? I'm sure the great minds here will easily find the answer to 27. But a quick sampling will reveal different ways to arrive. The corollary from this example is that the solution to Nigeria's energy problem is not just to realize our vision of universal energy access, we must adopt a multifaceted approach. I have presented some of my research over the years of energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is about doing more with less. Energy efficiency is critical because it can lead to significant cost savings, as I have demonstrated, and reduce environmental impact and enhance energy security. And the methods we have developed over the years cut across various chemical and petrochemical operations. These can be deployed on different processes and at different levels to optimize process energy usage. Furthermore, we can't keep relying on energy from fossil fuel. In this area of electricity tariff, exorbitant cost of fossil fuel products, and incessant national electricity grid collapse, we must look around and make use of abundant biomass around us for conversion to electrical energy. We need to diversify our energy. Beyond this, we can leverage on some of our research products to have portable and efficient cooking fuels, mean increase of biomass power homes, decentralized power supplies for villages, and so on. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, energy efficiency and renewable energy are two sides of the same coin. We have presented things that could be a solution to our menace. And in reality, the universal energy access in Nigeria should not be a myth, but should be our reality. It should no longer be a mirage if we can deploy some of these things that we have discussed. Recommendations. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, from the foregoing discussions, I want to make the following recommendations. There's a need for continuous research and development. Again, our great university is more than like for a center of excellence on energy. We need to invest in capacity building. Government also should enact supportive policies and frameworks that can incentivize investment in energy infrastructure, and public and private sector investment can be mobilized to bridge funding gaps and facilitate access to affordable financing mechanisms for energy projects. Acknowledgements. To God be the glory for His faithfulness upon my life. I acknowledge His mighty for His mighty deeds and acts. Without Him, I am nothing, but of His fullness I have received grace upon grace. May His name be highly praised. I realize the depth of gratitude I owe to many, and here are a few words of thanks and appreciation to all and everyone who deserves more than words can convey. My humanity and memory might fail me to accord due recognition to everyone. Please permit my gratitude. To all I might fail to mention, this line is dedicated to you. Thank you for being part of my success story. Thank you for your significant contribution in partnering with God to make me who I am today. Thank you. I am grateful to God for my wonderful people. Let them know, please stand up. Reverend Dr. Rufus Adusami and Evangelist Dr. Sibolani Amina, thank you, God, for investing in the church. Your commitment and dedication to the children's welfare are unrivaled. This might sound like a cliche, but it is the candid truth. I remember vividly that my first visit to this university in 1992 was with my dad. I will leave my youth and courage there to your imagination. Thank you, Dad and Mom, for your love and sacrifice. On a bright Saturday, sometimes in 1999 during my service day, I suddenly saw my mom at the Corpus Lodge in Kampala, Katsina State. My first question was Kiroshel, and my response was still over Shell, to say I was surprised to see her was an understatement. Thank you for being exemplary in every way. I appreciate my parents in law, Mama Usera Oshola, who is unavoidably absent. Thank you for being a great mother. May you keep enjoying the fruits of your labor. I appreciate the Vice Chancellor, Professor R. Olonkalulu, for this golden opportunity to present the 61st inaugural lecture. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Strategic and Development, Professor Etito Okule, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Innovation, Professor D.O. Araro, who doubles as an Oga as well, and indeed, all the principal officers of the university. Thank you so much. I do not take this place for granted. I also appreciate all past Vice Chancellors of this best academy of learning for their meaningful contribution to my life. I must also appreciate my academic parents, people that invested me to become who I am today. All my primary and secondary school teachers, I'm dedicating this class to you. Professor Musa Salawu, if he's here. Professor Musa Salawu, who is my physics and chemistry teacher. He was my physics and chemistry teacher that formed the basis of what I am today. while I was at OAU for my postgraduate studies. And some of my lecturers are great beyond their whole remembered with wonders. I want to specially appreciate my supervisor for my MSc and PhD at Obafemi Awolowo University, Professor A.M. Anozie. Please stand up, sir. Thank you so much for your labor and patience. His response to my first manuscript submission to UPenn was academic writing is a skill, and you will get better with much practice. I suppose I'm getting there, sir. Thank you for being a unique supervisor, and thank you for all you have done. May your path keep shining brighter and brighter. My second PhD supervisor is online watching us, Professor Giuliani of Newcastle University, United Kingdom. He really demonstrated a great commitment to the successful completion of my PhD, despite me having to drop politics for baby that came in the second year. Thank you so much, sir, for your great support. I appreciate all my academic collaborators within and outside of Nigeria, especially Professor Ebiwiti of the University of Utah. I'm sure some of us know him here. He was here sometimes this year. I equally appreciate all that we have collaborated together. Professor Ogunleye Agari, Babatunde Odejobi Oshuleke, Odetoye Dr. Salade Agbede Agbe, Sulaimon Okoji, Oke and Ajala. Thank you for your support all through the years. I appreciate all my graduates, both past and present. My sincere gratitude to Commonwealth Scholarship Commission for sponsoring my PhD program at Newcastle University, and for the People Private City Scholar Program for sponsoring my trip to the United States. I'm grateful to the Dean Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Professor S. Oladejo, and all the past deans of the faculty. I'm immensely grateful for the kindness of Professor A. Rahim, Professor S. Obelu, and Dr. Afolabi during numerous trips to and from Ife in pursuit of my postgraduate degree. My sincere appreciation to the head of Chemical Engineering Department, Professor A. Ajani, and all the members of the department. I wish I can mention you one by one, but for lack of time. Thank you for harmonious working relationship. I also appreciate all the staff members of Chemical Engineering from the Department of Chemical Engineering, University of Ilorin. I know they are here. Thank you. Also people from Obafemi Awolowo University, Department of Chemical Engineering. Thank you so much. My heartfelt gratitude to the 61st Inaugural Steering Committee that was ably chaired by Dr. Ewo Ademola, and these people worked tirelessly to the success of this program. Just make sure you are good with the manuscript. Every other thing will take there, and they have done excellently. Thank you all so much. Professor Ajani Oluremi Adebayo Ojoawo, Ogunleye Ogunleye Adoye, Babarinde Oke, Olaoye Ogunlaki Aremu, Doctors Dada Ademonti Agede, Ojoawo Ojo, Akinwumi Popola, Engineer Sadioye Alamu, Akínpẹ̀lú, and Engineer Sarafadis. Thank you so much for your sacrifice and labor. A big thank you to the University Inaugural Lecture Committee under the chairmanship of Professor A. Oladiti for your guidance. I appreciate Professor Ogunleye Oshubade, Dr. Salade Agbede, and Arikola for their help in reviewing this manuscript. Special recognition to various professional bodies that have been actively involved in. Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers is the national president is represented here today by Professor Iye Taiwo. I acknowledge it, sir. And Professor Taiwo is very equally is the chairman of the Oyo Oshokwara Ekiti chapter of NSH. And all members of this chapter, I acknowledge you for great working relationship. I equally acknowledge all members of APWEN, all members of NSC, and NAWAS. Due recognition to all my former classmates, beginning from my primary school, Shuba Baptist Day School, Ogbomoso, Baptist Secondary Grammar School, Awoyaya, and Obaseku High School, Yoruba, as well as class 1992 of Chemical Engineering State. Please, as many of you as are here, can you give me the honor of standing up? Thank you. All my classmates, thank you. Thank you. I also appreciate Obaseku High School Old Student Association. I know they are here. Mama Dickness Elected has been here all the way from Ayoto. Thank you. And one of the illustrious alumnus of Obaseku High School, who is also a staff here, that's Dr. Biodun Amuda. Thank you so much for your contribution. I appreciate the friendship of all my brothers and sisters, all my friends that I listed in the program, please. I'm very sorry because of lack of constraints of time, and I'm not able to mention everyone. Temidayo community, then we live. Thank you for peaceful coexistence. All my spiritual mentors and body bearers, Professor and Dr. Mrs. Bola Ojewola, thank you, sir, the Reverend Pastor Mrs. Mike Babatunde. I appreciate all men of God that have labored on my spiritual life and all members of these churches. New Erua Baptist Church, I know they are coming, I don't know whether they are there yet. New Erua Baptist Church, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, I appreciate you. Victory Baptist Church member, thank you. Maranatha Baptist Church and Westgate Baptist Church and Presbyterian Church USA, some of them are watching me online. My special act of gratitude to Reverend and Mrs. J. Agbola is Baba Gregory Scandal. Baba was instrumental to my first, thank you, sir. Baba was instrumental to my first appointment at Cloudway as a teaching assistant. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate all my fathers in the Lord who were my parents' friends but have become my parents today. Evangelist and Mrs. J. Adeleke, thank you so much, sir. Reverend Dr. and Mrs. M. Watani, Reverend Dr. and Mrs. M. Watani, Pastor and Mrs. Adeleke, Evangelist and Mrs. Ojo, and many more. I appreciate you all. Thank you, sir. I appreciate my in-laws. They are the people that have been taking care of me for some decades now. Mr. and Mrs. Adekule, Mr. and Mr. and Mrs. Igene, Reverend Dr. and Mrs. Okutade, and Uncle Amololabi and others that are unavoidably absent. All my uncles and aunties from both parents' side are all appreciated. All my cousins, the Fatokins, Ajanis, Amudas, Fatai, Banimondas, and so on. A special appreciation to my mom, Mrs. Maria Fatoki, Mamaranga. Mamaranga, if you are here, stand up. She was a strong support system to me during my postgraduate studies. My children have fond memories of after-school hours with her. Thank you so much, ma'am. I appreciate my dear friend, Dr. Kumbayo Akulejika. I'm sure she's watching me online. My siblings, Reverend and Mrs. Akidele Downsi, Reverend Dr. Mubake and Reverend Omotunde, you can stand up, let people know you. Prince and Princess Sanke Fulon Agaramana, Mr. and Mrs. Akilompe, and that's the speaker. I appreciate you for fond memories you have created over the years. Thank you for having my back always. Special shout out to all my nieces and nephews. They are plenty, they are here. Thank you for making me a proud auntie. Thank you, I love you. My utmost gratitude to my immediate family, my great parents, Toluwani Oluwabi Komisando, Oluwani Oluwa and Oluwatobi Church. Thank you for making Motherland Church for me. Thank you for your love and understanding, your support and sacrifice. I am grateful to God for the grace of having you. May your path keep shining brighter and brighter. May my own attainment be your starting point in life. I love you so very much. And to the love of my life. My number one support system. Professor Oluwole Maria Olosogale, thank you for your unconditional love that look beyond my inadequacies, help my strength, celebrate my achievements, and cheer me on together. I appreciate your love, your devotion, and commitment. You have demonstrated over and over again that you are a great man. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. May the blessings of God abound more. And now to the immortal, invisible, the all-knowing and the all-knowing God, the most blessed, most glorious, the ancient of days, almighty, victorious, thy great name I praise. Thank you all.
I hereby declare this first inaugural lecture of the University.
mẹ̀kúnnù.